A quiet gymnasium filled with excited families, the sound of chatter and camera shutters bouncing off the walls. Graduates in crisp gowns filed into neat rows. At the far end of the bleachers, a tall man stood alone, his shoulders square, his expression proud yet weary. He was in uniform, a sharply pressed Marine Corps dress blues, with rows of medals that gleamed beneath the lights. That man was Master Sergeant David "Hammer" Wallace. But he didn't know that in just a few moments, the very country he'd served for 24 years was about to humiliate him in front of his son, and that 6 men, brothers in arms, were about to remind the world what honor really looks like. Act I, Pride and Expectation. David Wallace had seen combat in Fallujah, Kandahar, and Mogadishu. He'd led men through fire, survived IED blasts, and lost friends he still whispered to in the dark. But nothing made his heart beat like watching his only son, Malik, walk across that stage to receive his high school diploma. Malik was everything David had hoped to raise: respectful, smart, strong, and kind. He was the first in their family to be accepted into an Ivy League university, with a full scholarship. That graduation wasn't just a moment for Malik, it was a triumph for every generation that came before. David arrived early, taking a seat near the front, his back straight, hands folded over his cover, his hat. He knew people would stare. The uniform still drew attention, especially in a town like Lancaster, where decorated black Marines were a rarity. Still, he was used to the stares. What he wasn't used to, was being asked to leave. Act 2, The Confrontation. The ceremony had barely begun when 2 security guards approached David. One bent down and whispered, "Sir, we've had some complaints. We need you to move to the back or step outside." David looked up, confused. "Complaints? Some parents think your presence is distracting and intimidating," the guard replied, avoiding eye contact. David's mouth went dry. He had done nothing but sit and smile. Still, he stood up, out of habit more than compliance, and asked, "What exactly is the issue? Is it the uniform? Or something else?" The second guard shifted uncomfortably. "We're just following instructions." A silence fell over the people nearby. No one intervened. No one spoke up. David looked toward the stage. Malik hadn't seen him yet. But if he left now, he might miss it all. For a split second, a war veteran, a hero in countries he couldn't even pronounce, considered backing down in his own country. For his son's sake. For peace. But that's when it happened. Act 3, The SEAL Team arrives. From the far side of the gymnasium, 6 men stood up in unison. They had arrived quietly, unannounced, just moments before. No one paid much attention to them at first. Their clothes casual, but their posture unmistakable. These men moved with precision, every motion deliberate. Former Navy SEALs. Brothers from deployments long past. They weren't supposed to be there, not formally. But they came to support an old friend. Their leader, Commander Jake "Hawk" Collins, made his way down the aisle like a storm wrapped in calm. He approached the guards who were still trying to move David. "This man earned every right to sit here," Jake said evenly. "And if he's not welcome, then neither are we." The guards paused, unsure of what to do. The crowd began to murmur, then hush. One by one, the other SEALs joined David at the front, standing beside him, forming a line like a living wall of valor. 6 warriors. 1 Marine. A woman in the back gasped. "Are those medals real?" A teacher, standing nearby, stepped forward. "They are. These men are heroes." David's eyes welled, not from embarrassment, but something deeper. A lifetime of shouldering battles alone suddenly made lighter by Brotherhood. Act 4, The room falls silent. The school principal approached the commotion, visibly shaken by the disruption. But before she could speak, Jake turned toward the entire gymnasium and raised his voice. "Ladies and gentlemen, you may not know this man, but you should. Master Sergeant David Wallace served this country for over 2 decades. He fought in wars you only read about. He bled for the freedom every one of you enjoys. And today, all he wants, is to watch his son graduate." He paused, then continued. "Shame on any institution that treats its protectors like problems. Shame on anyone who sees a proud black Marine and feels threatened instead of grateful. We didn't come here to fight. But we won't let this stand either." The room was silent. Then a sound broke through, clapping. One person. Then another. Then the entire gymnasium rose in applause. Mothers with tears in their eyes. Fathers holding their sons. Students clapping so hard their hands hurt. David tried to speak but found no words. Malik, from the stage, spotted his father and froze. Then his face split into a smile, wide and full of pride. He held his diploma in the air and mouthed, "That's my dad." Act V, a legacy redeemed. After the ceremony, the crowd parted for David. Strangers came up, shook his hand, thanked him for his service. Children asked for pictures. A local reporter who had been covering the graduation now had a new story. But the real moment came when Malik found his father. "Dad," he whispered, pulling him into a hug, "I saw the whole thing. I'm so sorry." David held his son tightly. "No, son. Don't be sorry. I'd go through it all again, just to see this moment." Jake and the other SEALs stood back, watching the reunion. Jake gave a small salute, then smiled. "Your dads always had our 6. Today, we had his." Closing message, inspiration. In a time when the world feels divided, stories like this remind us, honor has no color. Courage knows no boundaries. And respect, the kind earned through sacrifice, should never be silenced. Let this story echo beyond one gymnasium in a small American town. Let it remind us to see the uniforms, the people behind them, and the legacy they carry. Because sometimes, it takes 6 SEALs to silence a room, but it only takes one voice to stand for what's right. And that voice could be yours.